Hey guys, Kyle Mooney here, and you're watching Comedy Matters TV with Jeffrey Gurian.
Hey, it's Jeffrey Gurian here for Comedy Matters TV on the Be Terrific Network. And I'm here at the Comedy Matters TV office with Kyle Mooney from SNL. How are you, Kyle?
Jeffrey, I'm well. Thank you for having me here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming over, man. You know, we're going to talk mostly about Brigsby Bear, your new film, because I really loved it and it's so unique. But I just want to talk a little bit about your background, okay? You're a California guy originally, right?
San Diego, baby.
And then in 2007, when I think, is that when you first came here, when you got involved with UCB, or were you doing UCB out there?
I graduated from college. I went to USC in '07, and yeah, that was about the time. I was actually doing UCB in LA. They had opened up the theater maybe 2 years prior. But yeah, I had formed a sketch group with some dudes I went to college with, Beck Bennett.
Good Neighbor, right?
Good Neighbor, Beck Bennett's on SNL. Mm-hmm. Nick Rutherford wrote for the show a couple years ago, and Dave McCary, in essence, directed all of our videos, and he's also now not only works at SNL but directed this film, Brigsby Bear.
Brigsby Bear, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was so amazing. I think when you guys first went to SNL, they only took 3 of you in the beginning, right? And then Nick came on afterwards.
You got it.
Were you guys helpful with that?
Yeah, I mean, we wanted our whole crew there. You know what I mean? It's not a fun thing to kind of leave your best friend on the other coast.
Sure,
yeah.
Of course, yeah. And how did you come to the attention of Lauren in the first place?
You know, it's tough to say. I think there were certain people at the show who were aware of us. We had gained some popularity on the internet through our videos. Certainly, the Lonely Island guys were aware of us. I had done an episode of Parks and Rec that Yorma directed. Mm-hmm. Beck had also worked with him. So I think maybe they were just watching our videos in the offices and stuff like that.
First of all, it's everybody's dream if you're in comedy to be on SNL. I mean, the show's 40 years, which is just a phenomenon. But it always interests me how people get breaks because so many people don't. Right. And I like the synchronicity of events that leads to something. Somebody hears about you, they tell somebody else.
Yeah.
And if you're lucky, Lorne Michaels shows up.
Yeah, it's not, the show is so iconic and obviously such an institution that it's not even something I felt was a realistic opportunity. You know what I mean? It's surreal. It's dreamlike. And yeah, not only have I been able to be a part of it, but also I'm there with my friends, which is even more insane.
Yeah. That's there's nothing better than that, than to be able to create with people that you click with comedically.
Right.
It's a magical thing, man. Were you a funny kid?
I'd like to think so. I mean, I certainly tried my best. I think, voted maybe class clown at in my senior year of high school, and most likely to be a movie star in 8th grade.
Oh, really? Oh, cool. And you have 2 brothers. Were they funny too?
Yeah, no, I'm the youngest of 3 boys, and certainly they, I feel like I was at an advantage as the little brother because all the stuff that they were into, they were a couple years ahead of me, so they were kind of putting me onto the trendy old young man stuff before I knew anything about it. So yeah, SNL, Monty Python, all those things I kind of came to realize through my older brothers.
Yeah, one of the people I was so excited to meet was John Cleese from the Python. It's just amazing. He was up in Montreal one year at Just for Laughs. Have you ever been there, by the way? Have you been up to Just for Laughs yet?
I've not been to Just for Laughs. I auditioned before I got on the show. They didn't take me.
Their loss.
but yeah, I'd love to check it out.
Yeah, it's crazy. You're doing so many things. What are some of your favorite characters that you do on SNL?
Well, I do this kind of shitty stand-up character, Bruce Chandlane.
Have you ever done real stand-up? Or because I know you're an improv guy, and there's a real difference, obviously, between doing, even if you go to Whiplash at UCB, their stand-up show, it's very different than stand-up in the clubs.
No, I mean, when I first got out of college, I would attempt to do my version of stand-up. The thing is, I don't feel that I ever... And I would, go to shows and surround myself with stand-up comedians, but I don't know that I ever had the drive that everybody else did. I couldn't cut it just going to the club or going to these open mics every night and reworking material. And I kind of found that I gravitated more towards just developing these characters and doing weird voices and kind of working from that place rather than talking about myself. I guess I'm kind of uncomfortable just being me on stage sometimes.
It's very interesting that some people have a talent for doing characters at a very young age, or voices, or things like that, which doesn't play when you're doing stand-up.
Right.
It doesn't work. You are the character when you're doing stand-up. And it's interesting because years ago, people got on TV from doing stand-up. These days, I think more people get on TV from doing improv, with an improv background. There's so many UC-Beers on TV.
Yeah, no, it's true. And I mean, I think that just goes to show you, at the very least, that Amy and Matt Besser, Matt Walsh, Ian Roberts have founded kind of an important thing in that theater,
Didn't they recently have that marathon that they do every year? The Del Close Marathon, yeah. And those are amazing. They have the best shows. So let's talk about Brigsby Bear. It was the most unusual film that I've seen in a very long time. So artistic, so unique. And I don't want to give away the plot. Tell our viewers what we can tell them about the film.
The movie's about this character James, played by myself, and he's basically just really obsessed with this TV show called Brigsby Bear Adventures. And without giving away too much, like you said, something kind of extraordinary happens in which his life is flipped upside down, and he's still obsessed with this TV show. I don't know. Is that good?
Well, you know what? There is information on the internet that says that he finds out that he's not in the real family where he's supposed to be, and he gets rescued. He grew up watching this show, and called Brigsby Bear, and he's basically obsessed. That's his world. Yeah. That's the world that he knows. And you got a great cast, who are some of the people? Matt Walsh is in it, of course.
Is in it. Michaela Watkins.
And Matt Walsh plays your real dad.
Yeah.
Right.
Mark Hamill, Jane Addams, Greg Kinnear, Claire Danes, Andy Samberg, and then some of the younger actors are Ryan Sipkins, George Lendenberg. So yeah, we've got a really cool crew.
Now, you co-wrote it with a friend, right?
Yeah.
And who was that guy?
Kevin Costello, who I met in 7th grade in Mr. Frank's history class at Wagenheim Middle School.
Did you ever intend to do a project with him? Or did you just call him out of the blue? I mean, that's really wild.
We were certainly buddies in middle school, but I don't remember us ever working on anything creatively together. But we kind of stayed in touch. He ended up moving out of San Diego to Oklahoma City. And when we were in college, we were both part of the same... it was like a best filmmaker on campus contest through an MTVU, their like college outlet. And he was going to Oklahoma. I was at USC, and we kind of linked up then, and he ended up moving out to LA after school and started a career as a screenwriter, and I pitched him the idea for the movie because I don't know my way around formatting a feature-length script, and he helped out, and that's kind of how we got to where we are, I guess.
It's so interesting. A guy that you met in middle school, and so many years later, you end up doing like a major project together. Those are the things that interest me. Those are synchronicities, because it never had to happen.
No, and it's, I agree with you. It's always crazy because, I think like not only did I meet Dave, the director, as a child, and like we went through adolescence together, but had I not gone to USC, I wouldn't have met Beck or Nick, and it's kind of that whole like space-time continuum or whatever it is. It's really trippy to think about. Like if I had just done one thing different,
nothing else would have happened. And I'm always fascinated by that. It's like not to be overly mystical, but it's like a spiritual thing, like where everyone has a path. And when you look back at your life in retrospect, you see that every single thing had to happen exactly the way it did in order for you to be here right now doing this.
Totally.
You know, everything leads up to something, and it's such a cool thing when you think it. When you're going through it, you can't see it. You're too close to it.
Right.
But in retrospect, you can see it. And it's fascinating.
It's been a fun ride for me.
Oh, I'm sure.
How about you?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's a dream, you know. It's just so fun being in the comedy world, you know. What was the inspiration for Brigsby Bear? Because it's such a wild story. Where'd you come up with a concept like that?
You know, I don't know that I know exactly when or how the idea popped out, but I will say, like, I've always been interested in like, children's entertainment of the 80s and 90s, and I feel like that certainly had an influence on the Brigsby Bear TV show within the movie. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, like, I think we just always, there's something very romantic about making a movie, and it's something I've always wanted to do. So I think somewhere in the recesses of my mind, this idea was birthed.
Maybe you are a weird guy. It's such a cool.
No, concept. Jeffrey, don't say that.
No, I mean because it's so unique. It's so different. There's no movie like it. I haven't seen anything like that.
Thank you.
I mean, it's funny. It's touching. It's everything that you'd want in a film. It's really, and it's the truth. I don't just say it. And for it to be your first film is amazing. For that to be your first attempt. What was it like in Cannes? I know you just took it to the Cannes Film Festival, right?
Yeah, again, I mean, another surreal experience. We premiered at Sundance, and that was its own experience where we had not really shown the movie to anybody, so we didn't know how it was going to be received. It ended up being received well. People seemed to like it. And then going to France with it, you just wonder how a movie like this with, has some subtle humor, and, my character is peculiar in certain ways. The dialogue is peculiar in certain ways. You wonder how it'll translate to these international audiences. And certainly, like, you watch some jokes that get big reactions in the States, get nothing in the theater at Cannes, but
yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah. Then you get the opposite, where there are things that the French give a massive response to, like a standing ovation to a single line that you never would have thought of. You know what I'm saying? So that's been the coolest part of the process, is just seeing how different people interact with the movie.
Did anyone else from the cast join you over there?
Yeah, Kinnear was there. Greg was there, and then our Dave, the director, and Kevin, the co-writer, and Caitlin Scheel, who's in the movie as well, was there as well. And it was a good time hanging with Greg in France.
Did you go to any of the parties? I mean, Cannes as well. I was only there once, but it's like yachts and parties and excitement and red carpets.
We went to a couple parties. It's a fun time. I will say, like, it was nice to get out of Cannes for a minute. We went to Antibes. We got a boat and just drank a ton of rosé, and it was. I could definitely get into the French Riviera lifestyle. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, it was really nice over there. It was also a surreal experience to also find yourself at Cannes. I had some short films and I went over. It's nicer if you have something in the festival as opposed to just going to a festival to watch. It gets kind of boring. How many movies can you see? Yeah. But it's an unbelievable experience. Brigsby Bear is opening on July 28th. Is it in theaters all over the country?
Starting out in LA and New York, and then we'll expand thereafter. I guess, like a lot of these independent features, the more people go to see it initially, the more people will get to see it after the fact and as it builds. So we definitely want to encourage people to go to the theater And I think this is the type of movie that you want to experience in the theater. It's a fun one to watch with people.
Oh yeah, I mean there's special effects. Who's the face in the sun? It looks so familiar to me. Did you use somebody known for that face when the sun speaks?
It's Mark Hamill, baby.
It is? Oh, that's so cool. What's next for you after this? I know it's hard to think of stuff like that when you're in the midst of something. You're on hiatus from SNL. You're off for the summer, right? Yeah. So are you going to be using the summer to promote the film? Or are you working on other stuff?
Yeah, no, I am basically this upcoming month, I'm going to be doing a couple comedy shows and then a lot of press for the movie up until its release. And so that's kind of where I'm dedicated right now.
Well, if this was your first project, I can only wait to see what you come up with next, because really it's very creative. As a writer myself, I respect good writing and creativity. And as I said, it's one of the most unique. You must see this film. You must go and see this film. It's really one of the most unique and funny, individualistic films that I've seen in a very, very long time, and I see a lot of stuff. So I congratulate you.
It's very wonderful of you to say, Jeffrey, and I'm so excited to be here. This is really cool.
Thanks, and I wish you the best, man.
Cheers.
I'll see you on SNL. The new season. Is it the 5th season for you coming up?
Yep.
5th season.
Season 43.
Season 43, but your 5th season.
Season 5 for me. For Lauren, season 43. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, so this has been Jeffrey Gurian on Comedy Matters TV on the Be Terrific Network, and you've been watching me with Kyle Mooney, the star of the new film Brigsby Bear. Check it out on July the 28th. Thanks. Hey guys, thanks for watching Comedy Matters TV. To check out some of our other videos, click on the boxes on either side of me. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Not just for me, but for my parents.